Hey, it's me. It's animated me. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and it's time for another episode of Completed It. Movie reviews, pop culture, celebrity guests, and all that good stuff. Oh, and my good friend over there, Sasha Alari, that's my co-host. Hey, Satch, hit the titles, brother. Welcome everybody back to Completed It. Yes, we're back. Finally, we get to do our Superman review show, as you can probably see by most of us having either backdrops or Superman t-shirts. Where's yours, Neil? I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and as you can see, I'm joined by many co-hosts and friends today. We have in my top left there, my good buddy, Mr. Johnny Noakes. Jonathan, how are you, sir? We're doing this early on a Sunday morning. Wakey, wakey.
Yeah, too early, but I'm okay. I'm good.
Good man, good man. Bottom right, first time on the show. Lee, how are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you for having me. It's
No
good to be
worries,
here.
mate. No worries,
Looking
mate.
forward to this.
Yeah, this. Anyone that's been in our a lot, everyone in here is in our WhatsApp group. Everyone's waiting for this episode. It's going to be very interesting. Bottom left, we have my long time and probably oldest friend in the entire world, and the person I went to see Superman with at the Warner UK media event last week. Sash, how are you, brother?
All good, man. It's too early for me.
Honestly, when I put in the group chat, is 9 a.m. okay for everyone? I was like, yeah, we had to do this because Neil's out this afternoon and
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
getting
yeah.
a Spurs tattoo. So, come on. And as
Right.
mentioned there, I know, sorry, mate. Top right, Neil, good morning, sir. I think everyone is really waiting for this episode purely for you, my friend. Oh, oh dear. Okay, no words. Okay, let's get into it, boys. Jesus Christ, I'm dreading this. Superman has finally hit the big screens. Me and Sash went last week to the Warner Brothers UK. Just want to say a big shout out to Warner Brothers UK. Thanks for hosting a great event. Me and Sash were at Cineworld in Leicester Square last Tuesday. Really incredible event. Got to meet some really cool people. Saw Paul from DC World, Luke, the Geek of Steel, and loads of friends up there that we know and love. And we got moved to the super screen, which was great. Me and Sash got to sit down and watch Superman on the super screen. So big thanks out to everyone at Warner Brothers UK. So boys, look, the Superman movie is finally here after many trailers. I felt like I'd seen. I don't know about you, but I found myself watching the movie thinking, oh, yeah, there's the bit of the trailer that I've seen, or there's the bit of the trailer that I've seen. But look, I'm going to get straight into it. We're going to start me, Jonathan. I think we've kind of figured this out. We're going to work to Neil's. He's usually saved this for a Monday, but Neil's, we'll call it the Sunday rant. No Marvelous Monday rant today. He's just going to make a rant about
rant.
Superman. Yeah, we kind of teased this last week. Neil's a Superman fan. I was umming and ahhing whether to invite him on this show, but he's kind of like family and a co-host now. Didn't want to do it without him. Look, I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was building up to this movie. They kind of told us that we're going to reset the DC universe. We're not going to kind of tell the same old, same old. There's a ship coming to Earth. There's it crashing. There's a baby. There's a baby lifting up there. Blah 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 blah. We weren't really going to get that. So I like the way this movie started, where they kind of explained the backstory quickly, how long he had been on Earth, blah 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 blah, etc. I really like the fact that they got into that. And a few people that I've spoke to, I've got a couple of things that people have sent me via our Twitter at Completed It Pod, kind of all of the same ilk. They were like, "Oh, Andy, I was glad I didn't get a whole backstory of a Krypton blowing up and his parents." But we did get his parents with Bradley Cooper, surprising everyone, playing Jor-El, his father, in a message in the Fortress of Solitude, which I thought was really cool. I just love the whole reset. I mean, I'm kind of in the camp of I was ready for a DC reset. They've kind of shit the bed the last few years, but they haven't really done much. The Justice Gang, the Justice League, whatever you want to call them, was really introduced. You had Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific, etc., etc. I absolutely loved the reset of what they'd done. I thought the Superman character was good. The way they showed him not just starting a movie, kicking ass. I thought that was good. I thought Crypto was incredible. This for me, if you're a comic book fan, every scene that was in this movie was like a turn of a page of a comic book. I felt like I was just sitting there reading a comic book that I could have been reading in the 90s, the 2000s. Every time I've got absolutely loads of them sitting over there. I collect comic books like you wouldn't believe. I absolutely love this movie. I thought David Corset played Superman really well. Lex Luthor is probably one of the best Lex Luthors that I've ever seen. I thought it was tremendous. The storyline for me was good. Really good. Jono, you seen it yesterday. You saw it in 3D as well, my man.
Yeah.
Let's just go around the room and get everyone's first opinions of the movie, and then we can get into debate it and pull it apart, and then we can let Neil rant at the end. Jono, what did you think, my friend?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but as I said before we come on, there's two things. One, my screen, people didn't know when to shut up. That really pissed me off.
It's
So I
the
kind of
worst
lacked a
thing
bit
the
of
worst thing at the
concentrating.
cinema,
But
bro.
number two is I think they should have just concentrated on the Superman and Lex Luthor rivalry. I mean, there was a lot going on, which I really enjoyed, but it was just like from the start, it was like smack bang right in your face. Let's kick this off and just it. No, it just finished too quick for me. Too much going on, but I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought the rivalry was Lex Luthor. He's the whole reason that he went to the Fortress of Solitude. He found his way
Yeah, the
into the
other
Fortress of Solitude.
just too many characters in there. She's just
Oh, maybe
constant.
we'll just make a movie, just two characters, 2 hours. Yeah, we'll just end it. Fuck it.
Yeah, no,
Got two characters.
like the
James
original.
Gunn would have loved that. What's the budget for the film, mate? I don't matter. We've only got two characters.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
Sash, you and I saw it last week, bro. Obviously, I was with you in the cinema. You've seen it since. You've seen it a couple of times. I might have seen it 4 times now.
You seen it today?
Yeah, I'm going at 6:30. Uh, what did you do? What did you think, Sash, mate?
Okay, I'll start with the good. I'll start with the good because there's plenty to like. If you're a Superman fan of the comics and stuff, this is for you. All right. It's literally like you both have said, they start you slap bang in the middle of the action. It's quite literally if you picked a Superman comic off the shelves and opened it up, this is what you would get. It's unapologetically a comic book movie, which is both its strength and its detriment, in my opinion. But for its core strength, I mean, like I always wanted to see Superman fight a Godzilla thing. I got it. I always wanted to see him go back to his roots and saving people as he's fighting. I got that too. I love the standout. I think everyone aboard uh, here have got to admit Nick Holt smashed it. All right. In my opinion, he's the greatest actor to play Lex Luthor, hands down. Just
Fully
hands
agree.
down.
Yeah,
It's a
I agree.
great mix of Rosenbaum and what's his face?
Hackman.
Yeah, the late Gene Hackman. God bless you, sir. Look, if there's any more Lex in all these films, I'm there for it because I really liked him. In fact, I felt he needed to be in it more. You know what I mean? Like he was that good. I just felt every time the camera moved away from him, I was like, oh man, like I want to see more Lex go nuts or Lex being witty or you know what I mean? Like we needed
You
more
can
Lex,
tell he
man.
had done his research for that
Oh
character
yeah,
as well.
100%.
Wow, you could,
Especially like leading up to it. He even told like he was on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast
yeah.
talking about his approach and stuff and his influences and stuff. And it's all there, man. It's all there. I liked I really loved what they did with Jimmy Olsen. That cracked me up no end. Okay, the Jimmy Olsen stuff. I don't care how Jimmy Olsen are we allowed to do
Yeah,
spoilers
we can
or
do it. Go for
okay,
it.
spoilers.
Eve.
So Miss, what's her
We better
surname?
because Neil's
Eve.
going to give you
Yeah,
Eve
like
Miss
look,
Chessmarker.
look. She was a character in the 70s original, right?
Yep.
And you
And
know
they paid
what?
homage
Like,
to her, the
if
way they
you
dressed her
were,
as well
it
was
was a
proper
great
homage.
homage. But then, if you were going to do a modern day version of her, that would be it. I felt she was fine, but I thought her as the source and that I was like, yeah,
Very clever.
I'm digging this. That's probably the one time I saw Chris smile in the whole damn thing because he was like, "Okay, I can get behind this," and I was like, "Yeah," because it's fucking jokes, man. It was a human done right there. I felt. Crypto stole my heart. I like Crypto, but then James Gunn has never been bad with animated characters and talking raccoons before. You know, the dog was fine. Okay. I really enjoyed Crypto. I got a relationship with the dog, with cousins in the States and stuff. And, I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. And
And it
it
was
was,
true to the original
yeah,
comics, really.
yeah, well, yeah, for the Silver Age, yeah,
Yeah,
for the most
exactly.
part. Again, like there was something I had a problem with, but I'm a little bit less so now. It's because I've never read that run of the comic. So if you guys have ever read the John Byrne Man of Steel era of Superman, they kind of go that route with the parentage. So, that was a major thing for me because I hadn't read that thing. And I really fundamentally disagree with messing with the origin. But the fact he's gone that route with it means there is a plan,
Oh yeah, this is
for
just the start. Yeah,
future
yeah.
films, because the message was, the Kryptonian message was broken. So you could have it be that they tampered half of it, and then maybe in a later film or in the third one in a trilogy that completes the arc, the character arc or something. And you can have it be something very what was it, emotionally kind of like charged, kind of thing, which is what James Gunn does, right? And but my problem though then is that and this was one of my biggest this was really one of my biggest problems with the movie. They didn't really address the aftermath of that because at the moment we still think that is the legit message, and that's why he was there to come to Earth. And I really have a fundamental problem with that. But if they do build on that in a story arc in sequels and stuff, I can forgive that. You know what I mean? I can forgive that choice if that is the way they're going. But for me, like, you fucking with Joe Roll, yo? Like, I don't know
Well, as
about
in
this,
when they
man.
changed it, as in they changed the message because that was the engineer that changed the message.
Well, they don't confirm that because
Yeah, but you
remember,
don't have to be Albert Einstein to work that out.
yeah, but not when Mr. Terrific turns around and says, yo, those guys are good. That's legit. That's them confirming
Yeah,
that
true.
you were here to murder motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So and take wives and stuff. So, if they'd done that at the end and said, yeah, look, it looks like it's been
The
doctored or
engineer done
something,
it. Yeah, I got
then
you.
at least I wouldn't feel as negative on that. Do you know what I mean?
I
But
got you.
then knowing that Gunn is a comic book guy and that's the era that he grew up in, it makes me think he's going to retcon it in a sequel, and that was always the plan. But it's a we will see kind of moment. But if you're just watching this movie flat out, you got to understand, like, Superman at this point in comic book movies or even just media is your granddad knows him, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Your granddad grew up on him,
Yeah, great
for
granddad
Christ's
probably
sake.
knows him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's been around since the 30s. You know what I mean? And you got to understand, the majority of people, cinema goers, don't read comic books. You know what I mean? That was our thing, growing up. And, to put them, even now to the state, to put them straight into that comic book can be jarring. So I get it when John's like, there's too much going on because, that works for a comic book, but for actual movie
Yeah, it
for
might have
regular
been a bit
people,
hard to try and put a
it's going to
comic
be,
book onto the big screen kind
yeah,
of
it's
thing. But
gonna be
I
like
thought it.
for example, Marvel do it well, but you got to understand, Marvel when they first started, they grounded it in reality with Iron Man, with Cap, with Thor. Those first movies weren't super fantastical. They were movies that
Shout
world
out
built,
Marvelous Monday.
and then as each one came out, eventually they got more fantastical, more crazy. Like if they came out straight out the gate with Endgame with talking raccoons and stuff, people would have lost them. What the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? It would have been
Yeah.
like it would have been a gobbledygook to a lot of people. So but we're in an era where people are a little bit more accepting of these things, I guess. So it's going to be a true test how the wider audience view this and whether whether they can buy it or not.
Yeah.
So, but my main gripe with this movie, okay, my main gripe with this movie is it's not a movie. It just doesn't feel like a movie. It just feels like an episode of Channel 5 TV that's just come on.
Oh,
And yeah, none of it. The film
oh,
production,
God.
like I remember on the internet, people were saying it was
Where's the
looking cheap.
mute button?
And I was just like, well, no, this is just the trailer, I'm sure it'll look better when I go watch it in the cinema. And to be honest, I'll be honest, I've never been so wrong. Yeah, I mean, I felt it looked cheap. I felt that like the visual style looked cheap. I felt that it just didn't feel like cinema. Like when you look at Superman
Yeah.
78, the
Hmm.
OG film, as dated as that film is, That is a film built for cinema. Okay, from every shot that Richard Donner implements in that film is built for immersion of the people watching the film. From the opening credits coming at us, you know what I mean? From John Williams' score being classical and stuff, from the costume design, from everything. Everything's got like the big screen involved. You know, even when he saves Lois for the first time, it's, you know, stuff's built on scale. You've got big helicopter to sell scale that he's like this big, but he can pick this thing with his arm like that, going across the whole screen of like, you know, 70 millimeter or whatever the hell they shot it. It looks epic. You know what I mean? Although this one, you've got giant kaijus, etc., going on, it doesn't sell that. It doesn't sell that epicness to me because it's Looney Tunes. You know what I mean? Because they haven't grounded it in reality. And with Man of Steel, you know what? Man of Steel, all right, you know what? I like Man of Steel, all right. So people saying, "Oh, you're picking a side, you're just a Donner fan." No, I like most Superman stuff. I like this movie, and I got to stress this, but this is my biggest negative for this movie. Man of Steel straight out the. You can say what you want about Zack Snyder, okay? I think Rebel Moon is a piece of shit. I think BVS is a piece of shit. But Man of Steel, I loved that movie. All right, I loved Man of Steel, and you know what? Straight out the gate, shot one, Zod just rocks in, kills the council. It's epic on every level on Krypton when
Yeah, but
Michael Shannon just comes
this
in.
movie was never going to be that. We all knew that
I'm
this
not,
was
no,
going
no,
to be
no.
the
I know
start of
that.
a
I know
new.
that. I know that. But I'm not saying I needed Zod and the origin again. But I'm saying the way stuff is presented, you know what I mean, on screen, it felt like a movie. This seemed like a TV movie that I just could have
Okay,
watched.
okay,
Um,
interesting, interesting.
that's just my take. But
Shut up
that's my
talking now.
biggest state on it.
No, no, no. I
Otherwise,
get it. I get it.
well,
Look,
otherwise, wrapping it up for me. Sorry, guys.
no, no. Finally, mate.
All
It's all
in
right, mate. I'm
all,
only going out at 11 o'clock.
there was a lot to enjoy. I love the cast. I loved their chemistry.
Hmm.
Okay. They had great chemistry as Lois and Clark. I do think he's a good Superman because I bought him. It's to be honest, I've never disliked someone really that's been Superman. There's been some I've liked better than others, but he's a solid Superman. Is he better than Henry Cavill? It's too early to tell, guys. It's just one movie. You know, what I mean, give him a couple. Let's grow into it. And then we'll see. Tyler Hoechlin took a whole season of, Superman and
Yeah,
Lois, and
yeah. He
before he
really
became
took
a
some convincing
yeah,
to convince
so
you.
so look, we'll see. But anyway, I'm done. I've had my
Oh,
mini rant.
are we
But
still
yeah,
on? Are we still going? Yeah, I was just
yeah.
no, no, mate. Fair play to you. That was good. Lee, just give us a little bit of a backstory about your Superman fandom. Obviously, see you sitting there with your Superman t-shirt on, my friend, and obviously you've seen the movie. What did you think?
Um, it was entertaining, right? But yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was a movie for me. I mean, I'm not comic books. I've not really been into comic books. I've
Gotcha.
been
So
in.
this
I'm
is a
more
good
of a, I'm
perspective
more of
to
a
get
movie
then.
fan.
Were you more worried when they
Yeah.
said that this was going to be a comic book? So James Gunn has made no bones. He's like, I'm a comic book fan. I want to put the pages on the big screen and make it look like a movie. And yes, it did look like a fucking movie. But what did you, as someone that hasn't read the comic book, so
No,
you
no.
were
I
going
mean,
into the movie
obviously, all
fan?
of the Marvel. I know, obviously, all of the Marvel movies, DC movies. It's all based on comic books, so I had no problem with it. I was looking forward to it, because it was going to be true to the comics. So I appreciate where it's come from. But for me, it was just like I went to go and see a Superman movie, and I don't think it was. I think, like Jonathan said, I think it's more of a Justice Gang movie, and I had an issue with that with the old DCU, where it's just too much too soon. Where Marvel have built it up with Iron Man, they were setting the stage, like Sacha just said, they were setting the stage, and then there was sort of like you was slowly learning the world that you're going to be a part of for the next 10 years. And with this movie, I was thinking that was what this was going to be. I know I don't want to do the origin again. I know the origin's been done many
Hmm.
times and people know the story, so I appreciate that. So I wasn't expecting an origin, but I was expecting something to be more focused around where Superman is at this time. We saw Clark Kent for about 5 minutes of the whole movie. I don't even remember Clark Kent really being in it. So he's meant to be this alter ego, and that there was no sort of like he just got this sort of brief at the beginning. He's been here for however long. So this is the situation, and then boom, you got this character, this character, this character, this character, and it's like, oh no, not again. It's like from all the other podcasts I've done on creative control, like anything like this, I'm quite a simple person. I just want to be sort of teased into it, and I can't be dealing with everything just chucked at me at once.
Do you
I
think
can't
they made
handle
them?
it.
Do you think League? Do you think that might have been? And I'm playing devil's advocate. Do you think that might have been a mistake that James Gunn made, just assuming that everyone knew these comic book characters and they were throwing everything at everyone too quickly? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they're trying to again, like which with like last time. I just felt like they were trying to get to where Marvel was
Quickly.
like immediately.
Yeah.
Like you had the Man of Steel movie, and next thing you know, you're in Justice League and or BVS and then Justice League. It was like two movies, then you're here. And I just felt like with this one, it just reminded me of that. It's like, you can introduce these characters maybe briefly, like or just start it slow and build up to it. I mean, with Lex's portals and all that, that could have been maybe a movie in itself. Like as movie one, Superman's there. He's been here for this long. You can sort of learn about his relationship with Lois. You got Jimmy there. You've got is it Perry White? You can sort of set the stage. Not that long. You could have just done that. Here's where we are, and then obviously Lex, and they could have made a whole plot with him and these portals, and then sort of develop the portals, and the portals could have been one stage, and then so I could have seen this movie as being like maybe number two, like number three down the line, Guy Gardner. But there was elements of it that I did enjoy. Like Guy Gardner, I thought was hilarious. He was brilliant. Like the way that he was
Oh man,
portrayed,
he
and
was great.
Mr. Fantastic. So all the like Thatcher said as well, all the cast brilliant. I had no issues with any of the cast. I thought they all done a great job. It was just the way that it was just sort of presented for me. The soundtrack as well. I mean, a lot of films like I've got like all the Batman soundtracks I've got, the Superman soundtracks I've all got downloaded, went out straight away and got them. This one I couldn't tell, apart from the sort of manipulated John Williams theme. Other than that, I can't remember any of the music in the movie. There was nothing really that sort of that stood out on that kind of side of things. I think it needed to be a completely orchestral soundtrack, but then I think they had some pop songs in there, which didn't really land,
Yeah, the
for me.
closing credits were, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't. So I think I was expecting this epic Superman movie, and I expected, let's say, to start to learn about James Gunn's DC universe, and obviously I can see where he's going with it. And the other thing is, if people are saying it's not made for us, like the old school, lot, it's made for the new guy, but the new TikTok lot don't go to the cinema. So I don't understand, like, you know what I mean? Some of them do, but I just feel like, if it's made for the new generation, I don't know. It's anyway, that was my time. I was a bit disappointed. I was entertained, but I was disappointed. It wasn't really the movie for me, to be fair. And I'm a little bit concerned about where James Gunn's going to go with, the rest of it, Batman and this whole universe. I'm not sure, but we'll see.
Did you kind of know the risk that James Gunn was taking, Lee? Did you kind of expect? Because it's been mentioned many times, comic book movie want to take the DC universe in a whole new era. So for me, it's like I am. Everyone that knows me, John will tell you, probably the biggest Superman fan on the planet. Absolutely worship everything. Yeah, look at Sash nodding his head. Absolutely. As soon as I found out this
Man
movie
was wearing capes at 8 years old in school. Like,
Well, to be
legit.
fair, I mean, we
Like,
could really be good
legit.
mates because I had a whole Superman costume when I was 8.
Ah,
What I
see,
mean?
God
I
bless you,
wasn't
my
into the
friend.
comics, but I had all the costumes and everything. So,
Yeah.
and I've watched the cartoons and that. So, no, I do love the character, and I was really, really hoping that this was going to be a start of something like amazing, this amazing universe, and say I love Superman. I think he's brilliant, and
You think for the modern day fan like you, Lee, and it's kind of like you want it to move on, and I get that. but you still want to have the origin of what you know as the character growing up. That's the opinion I'm getting from like what I'm reading online, or a few people. I'm going
Yeah,
to get to some people's messages in a minute that tweeted us at Completed It Pod. They were like, they didn't feel, the ones that have said that have got great reviews, and some of them have said they didn't feel it was true to what they know. But then my argument to that is, it has to move on some stage. You can't just keep and I get it. I get that you have to keep that origin of what is Superman. But I thought this movie set things up beautifully. And I think it might be one of these where you're like, oh, and I get what you're saying. And this, like I said in the group chat yesterday, I love listening to people's opinions and views, and I get it where you're just like, oh, maybe they didn't quite pay homage to what we know as Superman. But I've just gone blank canvas. I'm like, right, let's reset this. Let's fucking go. I'm here for the new era of what I'm gonna know as Superman, if that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, I say it was an entertaining movie, but for me it wasn't that epic. There was nothing in there that I haven't really seen before,
Mm.
and like Sat says, sometimes you look at this CW universe, whatever, and all that sort of stuff. It was kind of looked a little bit like that. I was expecting to see like these, yeah, just more focused on Superman for me at the first stage. It's called Superman, so it should be focused on him. Seeing is getting his ass kicked in the first, I mean, he got his ass kicked a lot through the movie,
Oh
and
yeah,
that kind of took the whole super element away from it. Um,
I kind of
like
like
I
that
say,
though, that the fact he was vulnerable for once, because every Superman movie you've watched ever, he's just like he's come in, he's kicked ass. He might have someone's got kryptonite,
see,
but
yeah, but
that's
you
something I
just
would have
wanna
kept the
build
movie
him up
too.
as to who he is, though. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
and what he's doing. Like I said,
yeah.
you want to see a bit of. I'd have
I
liked
get
to have
it.
seen Clark Kent in it more, because that is part of him. And I understand if you don't want an origin again. I understand that. But I think they could have eased it in a little bit more, and sort of got you sort of settled in, ready for what was to happen, rather than right, bang, here he is. He's getting his ass kicked now. He's fighting this guy. Next thing you know, Guy Gardner turns up, and then Mr. Fantastic turns up, and then Hawkgirl turns up, and then you're like, hang on a second, like, but that might be me. I'm just old.
No, I do. Look, these are very grey hairs here, sir. Right, okay, we've been going 25 minutes. He's been sitting there very patiently. We've been building this up for about 2 weeks now, saying I didn't even know if I wanted to invite him on. Neil, now is your, I'm going to say moment to shine, probably the wrong word. I'm dreading asking this. What did you think
No,
of
wait,
the,
wait, wait, Neil. What did you like about it first? Go on, let's
the
let's
end
fi- let's go
credits?
in
It
deep and
finished.
just try and find something.
What I liked about it, it was very, very vibrant. Like the color scheme that they chose to use for not just Superman, but like the whole world
Mm.
is very vibrant. It's bright. It is, we always said our Superman's supposed to be a beacon of hope. And I think when you think of hope, if you had to translate hope into a color scheme or into some kind of visual medium, it needs to be bright and like the sun coming over the horizon, brightness, a beautiful clear sky day. So the color scheme that they used, I was cool with that. Lex Luthor, amazing. They did pay some levels of homage to like what has come before. Obviously, the
His
Miss
test marker
Testmarker,
with the
right? And then
furry
having it
suit.
that it was Eve, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think what else did I enjoy about it.
Oh no.
Mm,
Oh no.
that's roughly it.
Okay.
That's roughly it,
I'm kind
right?
of scared to ask
I
this.
liked
What
actually no, I
what
did I
didn't
did like
didn't
the
you like about the movie?
I liked the I like the fact that they they let Lois, like, I mean, most times Lois is a good representation of Lois, but
Rachel Brosnahan, by the way,
yeah, they let her be
tremendous.
Lois, right? That scene when she is interviewing him, that is Lois being Lois, and she's pointing things out, and I was like, yeah, that's that's Lois. That's being done well, and that's about it.
Can I say one thing? Sorry,
Yes, of
was you
course,
a
mate.
was you a fan of Lois Lane flying a spaceship?
Oh God, I
No,
think
I
it's
didn't like it at all.
That was
I
BS. That was grade A
I
BS.
was not a
That
fan of that.
Yeah, I
But
forgot to mention that.
at
That
the
didn't really
same
go down
time,
well with me.
yeah, I was not a fan of that. But
Also,
I've
why?
seen
Also,
worse.
why? Why did they? Why? Okay, I get why she flew the spaceship the first time, but you know
Yeah.
when Perry's like, "Get to the spaceship," it was like,
I was
why?
more surprised they had Wi-Fi on the spaceship.
See,
But why? What did it serve the plot? You know, I mean, they
see,
just got on the spaceship
Actually,
just
no.
just
I
oh,
can't get on the
When
London
he turned
Underground to get Wi-Fi. They've got
when he
it.
turned the no. One thing I will give it attention to detail when Jimmy turns the laptop round, you can see it's got a tiny little ruler on it.
It's got its little dongle plugged in. See,
Right?
James Gunn,
Yeah.
small details.
Yeah.
Right. I
Uh,
did actually. That's the thing. I did like Jimmy. I did like Jimmy a
he's
lot.
a great character, man.
Right.
Played
That
really
was
well. The whole thing with
a
him
nice
and Test
updating of
Marker.
him. Right.
I thought that was told really well. What? Oh God! What didn't you? Hang on. What time is it? Just so I know when he starts. It's 9:35.
9:35.
9:35 on a Sunday on a Sunday morning. What didn't you like about this movie, Neil? Strap in,
Right.
lads. Strap in.
First things first. This movie contradicted itself all the time. Right. Firstly, they tell you like this movie was not Superman. I could have fucked this Superman up. I could have thumped him up silly. He loses every fight
That's because
that
he's
he
fighting
has.
himself.
No, he right now that I was like, okay, I can kind of understand that. But other than when he's fighting humans, he gets beaten up. Engineer beats him up, right? And it's like not Superman, Lex Luthor's plan is convoluted as all hell, right? I established a war between these two countries, fed arms to this one country because I have plans of owning one half of the other country, and I did all of this so I could beat you. He literally, those are almost word for word his lines. It's like, oh, I did all of this shit just so I could kill you, right? I was like, you have his DNA, you have his fight ability, his fighting patterns. Nothing you do prevents him. Nothing you do distracts him from being able to fight.
But that was more on Lex wanting to become like a king and a ruler of a country.
No, but
That's
what
how
I'm
they
saying is
explain that part.
nothing to do with Lex's plan, right? Nothing to do with Lex's plan is done in such a way that it's like, okay, I'm gonna divide your attention, Superman, between this thing and this thing so that I can beat you up because you're distracted. Nothing. Not one shred of it. It's you do this to 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 do this just because I got a clone who can kick your ass. And whatless, whatless idea. Crypto.
Best dog ever.
There were scenes where I was very cool with Crypto, but there were so many scenes of Crypto that I was like, fuck this fucking dog. Right? Because I was like, okay, the first time you see Crypto, fine, makes sense. And then that whole scene of the first time you see him in the Fortress of Solitude, fine, right? But then it's like it's almost like he tried to make it's almost like James Gunn tried to make Crypto the sole focus of the comedic elements of the film. And I'm like, this ain't Guardians of the Galaxy, right? What worked there will not work here, right? I've said before, James Gunn I've said when he was given the reins and he said, I'm doing Superman, I said he's the wrong guy for the job. Not because he's not a great director, because he's a brilliant director, but he is perfectly suited to work with misfits. Oddballs, misfits, those who are a little bit off in society, he can work with them perfectly. Superman is supposed to be a beacon of hope. I did not get that in this movie. I didn't get that man who is have the I didn't get he was not a beacon of hope in this movie, right?
You saved the squirrel, man.
Take the fucking squirrel.
Also, let's point this out. Let's get this one right out the damn way, right? The movie says Superman has been out there in the public eye as Superman for 3 years, right? And we're saying he's been running around the world saving people for 3 years. He ran, he dropped down, he stopped the war, he's doing all these things for 3 years.
And
And
squirrels.
one video that isn't completely verified by a billionaire. A billionaire comes out with one video that says, "Oh, look what I found. Superman's not here to save us. He's actually here to take over." And the people who are literally on the ground with Superman, right, are like, "Oh, you're a dickhead. Let me get my child away from you. Oh, I'm throwing things in the back of your head." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Right? It's not like, you see,
There's
now
no
even
loyalty
in this, right?
anymore.
Let me say, even if, right,
Loyalty's gone,
even
Lee,
if we
mate.
look at Man of Steel, right? Even if we look at Man of Steel, right? Superman literally has just arrived.
But they were watching
No,
a message from his own parents. That's why they were
Right.
like, well, fuck this guy then.
No, because there's nobody on planet Earth speaks Kryptonian, right?
Yeah, but they
So
translated it into English.
with what? We can't translate
Fucking
Latin.
It's Lex Luthor. He
right?
could do it once.
We can't translate Latin.
The
which is
engineer done it when she was in the Fortress of Solitude. That's what they were doing.
Look, we can't translate Latin. Latin is a dead language, and we can't fully translate.
Mate, I
that.
can't translate
But
English.
some bald prick is able to have a couple of scientists translate a whole alien language with sophistication greater than anything we have. I was like,
But that's
nah.
what the engineer does, and even in the comics, that's what she does.
I'm like, yeah, you're stretching things. You're
I'm
stretching
just
it.
saying, it's a comic book movie. In the comics, that's what she does.
Right? And then the thing is, and here's the thing, it went a bit full circle, because the whole thing about the message. Now, Dragon Ball Z Goku is the Japanese version of Superman, right? They just kept the origin and they switched it up a bit to make it more Japanese friendly, right? James Gunn being like, let's go full circle, and I'm gonna take this Dragon Ball Z element of like, no, you were sent here to take over the planet.
Well, no, that was that.
Right.
Like I said before,
Mhm. I know,
that's all
in
the
in
John
in
Byrne
the Man of Steel
run in
comic,
the
right?
80s. Yeah. So
Right.
he didn't
But
take
like
it from Dragon Ball.
doing that, it would have felt like he took it from Dragon Ball. But in doing that, like I was like, okay, and you never address it. Yeah, we might address it in the next film, in the next film, in the next film, right? Look, how many film studios need to learn from the Dark Universe, right? Don't act like your movie is going to get a sequel, because if your movie's shit, Superman is not shit.
This
but if
movie
your
ain't getting a
movie's
sequel.
shit,
This movie's getting a second, a third, a fourth. This movie,
right? Yeah, but I'm like, you know what, right? They had all these plans for the DCEU, and bit by bit, they were like, nah, not this one, son. Nah, not this one, son. You're gonna skip that one. You're gonna have to drop that one. Also, when I went back to it, said that this movie contradicts itself. One of the leading plot points of this movie is that Superman went to another country, stopped a war, right? And they said, we look at the political aspects of him doing that. So, all right, there's a problem with that. Or it's okay, And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that. You look at the ramifications of your actions. I'm okay with that. Where I'm not okay with that is the fucking Justice Gang do the same shit that Superman did, and nothing. We're good with leaving the movie there. You just spent all this time. You just spent almost 25 minutes with different characters talking about the ramifications of Superman.
Yeah, but that was only Lois Lane that asked him the ramifications. No one else did.
No, because
and apart from when Lex Luthor's chatting to the dudes in the room, and they were like, "Well, he did help us. He's helped us for the last 3 years, so this is why we're not really going to shit on him now."
Right, but I'm saying you establish it as a plot point that there are ramifications to his actions, and then they're cool.
But they answered that when they said they were
Gang.
happy with Lex going after him in the end.
Right. They made the point that it's like, Superman did it, it's a problem. Right? But then they let the Justice Land go do it. And Hawk Girl motherfucking murders this guy, right? She drops his ass from the sky. And we're like, yeah. Same. Cool. No problems, right? She murdered a diplomat. There's going to be ramifications, right? All of that landing on the ground, clapping, yay, we good. You saved us. I'm like, Bitch, you're going to
I
jail.
think she's watching
Right?
CSI.
I'm like, bitch, you're going to
Neil,
jail, right? You done murdered people. Um,
Neil, can I make a point,
If
mate?
we're arresting everyone that murders everyone in a superhero movie, then fucking everyone's going to jail.
no,
Can
but
I
you
make a
don't point out, you don't make that point of when Lois is talking to Superman and she's that. Remember, because okay, yeah,
Mm.
it's a singular argument between Lois and Clark,
Yeah.
but the ramifications is you're telling the audience, you're telling your audience there are issues here. This is not a thing that can just be like we're good,
Yeah,
right?
according to Lois.
You
Andy, can I
tell your
make a point,
audience.
mate?
Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, go on, mate.
Like they said that Superman's like been known to Earth for 3 years, but looking at the Justice Gang, have they been around Earth longer than Superman's been there
That's
at
Mm.
what we're
all?
going to find out in like the Green Lantern
That
movie, the
that's it.
Justice League.
Yeah, that's an
That's the whole
Yeah.
interesting
setup. That's a
question.
good thing about it. We don't know. That's what they're going to set up. I'm
Well, at the
thinking,
beginning, it said metahumans, and it had been around for longer than I think
yeah,
Superman.
Yeah, because they said that what they know because it goes 3,000 years ago, like metahumans.
3,303 3 minutes.
Yeah, it goes 3,000 years ago, metahumans exist. 30 years ago, Superman lands on Earth. 3 years ago, Superman reveals himself to be Superman. 3 minutes ago,
He lost his first ever fight
he lost his first ever fight.
against
Right?
himself.
Yeah. Uh the whole thing of calling it the Justice Gang, and I get it, they were trying to pull the thing of what happened in Iron Man with Shield, and it's like, that's not our name. We're not calling ourselves that, you know? But I'm just like, that's pointless. That is pointless, right? Being like, oh, we're the Justice Gang, and then what? Okay, you're gonna get a couple extra members, and then it's gonna be like, we're not calling ourselves the Justice Gang. We're the Justice League or the Justice Society or
It's going to
whichever
be
way you
Justice
want to put it,
Society.
right?
That's the whole. I think that's the point where they were going.
Right? I'm like, nonsense.
But
Nonsense.
that's how they
It
explained
was
it.
a
That's how
running
they
joke.
explained it in the comics
No, because I'm like, it's a running joke that doesn't land.
with you.
And the thing is, you know what? I'll be honest, right? We can't always, as comic book fans, we cannot always be like, oh, but that happens in the
Yeah,
comics.
but James
So
Gunn made the
we're
point of
okay.
this is what he wanted this movie to be. He wants this movie to feel like you're turning the page of a comic book. And it did. Every scene felt like you were flipping, especially the big fighting scenes where you're like, the big spread across the comic book where you've got it over
Mhm.
two or sometimes 3 pages. That's what James Gunn was going for with this movie, and he hit it out the park.
He
He
hit a
did.
foul
You know
ball.
what? I'll
He
give him
hit a
that.
foul ball because straight up,
Yeah,
right? He hit a foul ball because yes, it is like picking up a comic and opening it and being like, wow, wow, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. But it feels like you're opening, you know, issue 17 of volume 4, right? Which is like if you've never read a comic book, you're like, what the fuck is all of this? Right? There's no, and the thing is, you don't have to give everyone all these origins, right? Spider-Man Homecoming does an excellent job of being like, you do not need origin. Here's your character. Here's the world they live in. Have
That's
at
what
it.
they done in this movie. They didn't give you origin of the Justice Gang. They just there they were. They turned up about half an hour into the movie, so it's not like they were there straight away.
Yeah,
They
but
come and help
then
with the fight scene in
still,
Metropolis, and they turned
right?
up and helped Superman. And then obviously that's when the whole public turned on him, and the message was played on the screen,
Yeah,
etc.
the
etc. So they
public,
waited half an hour.
right? That's saying the public turning on him rubbed my ass the wrong way because I'm like, sorry, you can't have somebody running around saving people, right? The one thing I will give this movie is they made it a point to make Superman care about people.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of
Every
Superman.
moment, right? That's the whole point of him. He was there when they were fighting the big dragon thing, right? He was the one who was like, "Come on, guys, look, there's public here, there's people here." He's run saving people, saving people, and I was like, you know what? That's Superman. He's out there saving people. But you basically were like, okay, but nobody else gives a fuck about people, right? The Justice Gang are just like, yeah, kill this thing. Oh, it's gonna land
Mr.
on,
Terrific sure don't. You know
it's
what?
gonna land on people, and you were
Mr.
like,
Terrific was one
yeah,
of the best
whatever,
parts of this movie.
right?
Mr. Terrific sure don't. I mean, you know what? Yeah, that guy knocked it out the park, man. I like
Oh,
that
mate,
guy,
when they
man.
went into the Pocket Universe and he was doing it, that Pocket Universe whole scene was probably
Mhm.
Yeah,
one of the best scenes of the whole movie. It was fucking incredible. The way they done that scene for me was proper Superman. No, fucking hell. Can I borrow that shield, Neil? I need that shield behind you. Can I borrow it?
Feels like that's my shield. I would use
Also,
it on
and then
you.
one thing
You gotta come raise that
one thing,
motherfucking ass.
one thing I really didn't like, and this was just like this is a technical thing for me, right? The flying looked dog shit.
What?
All of that flying
Ah,
in
no.
his
Wait, hang
face,
on. How do I kick him out?
Nah,
right? It looked dog
John, you
shit.
don't
It
agree
looked
with that,
like
do you?
it looked
And I
like
nah,
like the
dog
man.
fact
shit,
The,
that they. I
right?
like
the
the fact
flying
at the
It looked
shots
start.
were unbelievable.
it
I,
looked
I should have
like
watched it
dog
in
shit,
IMAX.
right? Him flying, I'm cool with, right? We've seen people fly, so you got to try and do something a bit more original with it. All that camera's dead in his face. He looked cross-eyed. I'm like, come on, man,
Actually, they fixed it.
right?
It's different to
I
what it
don't
was
care
in
if
the trailer.
they tried to fix it, right? I was like, dude, what is going on, right?
I like the fact that
Camera's
they
all
had
up
him.
in
The
your
way they
face.
had him flying though was he wasn't the traditional Superman straight away.
Mhm.
He was his arms behind his back. John, what did you say about the Superman? I couldn't hear you over Neil's rant.
Oh, out of the flying sequences, I thought they were amazing. I wish I'd have watched it in IMAX, but
Ah, dude, in IMAX, it's incredible, mate. Oh, we saw it in super screen, but IMAX, I've seen it
there's one
twice.
thing in this film that they did in all the other films. Like, obviously, you didn't see a lot of Clark Kent in it. Why didn't Clark Kent run down the streets and alleyways? And
Because they didn't want to do that again. They've done that. This is what
I'd
I'm trying
love
to
to have seen
explain to
that.
you, motherfuckers. They didn't want to have that whole story again of him coming out of a phone booth and ripping open his shit. Been there, done that. And I'll always love it. It's great. But this is a complete, let's move on and let's see if we can do something
So
new with a
I've
character
got,
that we all love.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Mhm.
So if you had a roughly same script, same storyline, but if it was Henry Cavill and this was Man of Steel 2,
Oh, people would fucking love this even more because
do you
all
think do
the
you
Henry
think do you
Cavill
think that
fans
would have
out there.
changed things, guys?
If it was Man of Steel 2,
Even
Hmm.
Neil's cat wants to get involved in this
if
episode.
it was
Look,
Man of Steel 2, it would
he's
be
heard what
different
crypto? You talking about fucking dog?
because it's a sequel, right?
That's why, cat
Because
person.
it's a sequel
Yeah, that's why he
and it
doesn't like
has
crypto.
already,
This motherfucker.
yeah, right? It's a sequel, and as a sequel, you've already got the foundations of everything that's come before it, right?
But you
Yeah.
don't need foundations in
Ollie,
this. This is the whole
right?
point of this movie. They're setting up something that's going to go on for 5 to 10 years, possibly.
So what you're saying is it's a rush job, yeah?
No, it's not a
A
rush
dodgy
job. It's just
builders.
Right?
Maxim. Hello
What are you
there,
talking
mate.
about foundations, mate?
Yeah.
Right?
No, but
Look,
they
here's
have,
the thing.
you have to set if you're going to do something new and you're
Yeah.
gonna and it's risky
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
something new with DC. With look at Marvel and Ironheart and that fucking how everyone shit on Ironheart and we're gonna get to that at a later date and everything that Marvel have done pretty much since Endgame, like we talk on a Monday,
Right.
hasn't been great. But they're trying new things with DC. And to Neil's point, that I actually do agree with. They've tried with like the Justice League, the Batman versus Superman, the end credit scene at Superman Returns when they showed you his son and you were hopefully going to build like a Superboy kind of. That all went fuck that. We're like screw that up. We're not doing it. James Gunn's basically gone right. I need to reset the entire DC universe. Are people going to like maybe the way it starts? No. Did everyone maybe like the way that Marvel started? A lot of people didn't. I spoke to a lot of people that are like, I didn't really really like started it with Iron Man, etc. You have to start it somewhere. So this time in 4 years, we'd have had a Supergirl movie, we'd have had a Justice Gang, Justice, whatever you're going to call them, Justice Society, and you're probably going to have Superman 2, whatever you're going to call it, this time in 4 or 5 years. So saying like 2030, we're going to have all these characters, and we're going to look back to this movie and go, that's where they started. So when we're doing, I don't know, marvelous DC Mondays in fucking 10 years or whatever we're doing, we can possibly look back at this movie and go, that's why they done that. And that's why they done that. It's a risk from James Gunn, but I think it was a great risk that he's taken because this movie it was incredible. It set everything up for a new era of DC. And he said that when I went and saw him interviewed last week when I saw him in London and subsequently everything I've heard from him, he said, yeah, I know it's a risk because I'm taking a comic book and I'm trying to make this the first edition. This is the first edition of the comic book. So don't look at me like that, Neil. This generally for me was the first edition of a comic book. He's like, I'm taking these characters, I'm introducing you to them all. Anyone that goes into this movie already knows who Hawkgirl is, already knows who Mr. Terrific is, or we already know Lois Lane. We already know these characters. So we all going in knowing what we know. And we know that it's going to be a complete reset of the DC universe. He showed us Supergirl. The way they introduced Supergirl, they didn't put it in at the end credits. She come in, she's been out on the lash, God bless her. She's been drinking at every Red Sun planet going. She's been in in God knows how many pubs, and she's come to pick up her dog. And it explains why her dog's batshit crazy because that gives us a brief 2-second clip of what we're going to get with Supergirl, which is going to be incredible when that comes out next year. And I think that's again where we'll probably see Superman next. I think that's where he's going to, because James Gunn already said in his interview, you're going to see him quicker than you think you're going to see him again. So I'm going to guess Supergirl,
Andy,
and we're going to get, yes, sir.
do you think with the Supergirl movies, she's going to be planet hopping and seeing all these
Yeah, I
different
think they're
metahumans
gonna.
and things
It's
like
probably
that?
gonna piss everyone
Mm.
off because there's already gonna be characters left, right, and center. And I think with Supergirl more, though, you've got to establish her because even though there has been a Supergirl TV series with the CW, which I thought was
Mm.
I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it. And you've got the original Supergirl movie. Apart from the comics, you don't really see her in much.
Mm.
Did she crop up in Superman and Lois? No, I don't think she did. They mentioned her, but she didn't crop up in Superman and Lois. So I think that movie you're going to have to more establish her. That's the movie probably where you're going to get the end credit scene where it's going to set something up. The two end credit scenes in this were garbage. They weren't really
Yeah,
for
they
me.
will.
They were pretty sat in the cinema, and it's Mr. Terrific and Superman looking at a building with a crack in it, and then there's Krypton on Superman's shoulder. I think James Gunn maybe done that on purpose because he doesn't want to show his hand too early. But we all knew going into this movie what it was. We all knew that it's a complete reset for the DC universe, and we moan at everyone's online moaning, "Oh fucking hell, he's going to come from Krypton again. Krypton's going to blow up. Oh, Superman's just going to save the day." And well, we saw Superman vulnerable, which I thought was fantastic, and then we know why he's vulnerable because we find out that he's fighting himself, which I thought was an
Mhm.
incredible way to do it. And I didn't want to see Superman just coming in and whooping ass. I can go and watch Man of Steel. I can go and watch the original Superman. I can go and watch all of them movies because if I want to see that, I'll just go and watch them. And that's how
But is
he's
he a
going to start.
Superman now?
But he is
He's
though
a
because
regular man.
He's a regular
He's a
man.
regular man
That's
right
what I
now.
mean. Like, I understand what you're saying. I don't want to go and just see Superman whip everyone, but
but
you
he's
need
shown
to
another
sort of
side of him, I think.
set the status, set the status. Like like Sasha said, with the helicopter scene in the first one, you're
Hmm.
setting this guy up. Like, yeah, he is Superman. Like, yeah, what he can do is amazing. And like you say, like you could go into this film saying, well, I know he's Superman, but I don't know, just like yeah, just seeing him get whipped, like it just is taking the super element away from it a little bit for me. Like, yeah,
Okay.
he can
I
get
like to
beaten, he
point out.
can be vulnerable. You want to see that, but through the
Mm.
whole movie to make him out to be this vulnerable, I'm just like your everyday guy. He says in it, I'm
I'm just as
human.
human as you, yeah.
I'm just human as you. And you think, well, you're not, because you're meant to be Superman. Like you can have human characteristics, but you're not human. You're Superman. You're meant to be this, like everyone looks up to. And I think that's the only thing I didn't really get that. But I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying.
I'd like to
Yeah.
point out, right?
Oh.
Superman, they talk about Superman being vulnerable, right?
Hmm.
Vulnerability, in my personal opinion, you you being vulnerable, you have to show an opposite side to that to make that vulnerability relevant. Superman in the little text that comes out at the top at the start of the film, they say Superman is the strongest of them all, the most powerful, the mightiest, whatever word they use. They make a point of saying he is the guy. I needed to see Superman showing restraint. Vulnerability comes from different situations, but I needed to see restraint. Everybody likes that meme of the animated Superman Batman movie where Darkseid is holding on to Superman's cape, and everybody loves that scene. And I'm like, if you lot knew what come off right after that second, right, you would not be putting that meme up, right? Because Darkseid gets folded and pressed like an iron shirt, right? But I'm like, show me a Superman who is so immortally strong, so ungodly strong, that when we see him holding back, that's restraint. And then when we see a situation happen that he can't control, then we see his reaction, that's vulnerability. His vulnerability. The only time he's vulnerable in the movie is when he's talking to Pa Kent, right? It's not vulnerability to get your ass kicked. That's not vulnerability, right? That is you getting beat up,
Yeah,
right?
but it's the side of Superman that we don't see that often. Obviously, you had Metamorph with the kryptonite
Yeah.
in the, and by the way, they brought him into the show incredibly well, and the way that Superman went and saved his son. But again, they put the kryptonite in there really well because it's so many times in Lex Luthor's suddenly fucking gone to Asda's and got a shit ton of kryptonite, and all of a sudden, fucking Superman's gonna perish. The way they done that, the James Gunn done
Yeah.
that, I thought was great, and they introduced a Metamorph into the going to be in the Justice Society, Justice Gang, whatever we're going to call it. I thought they introduced him really well. The sub characters in this I thought were incredible outside of the Justice Gang, and the little Easter eggs that they put in. Did anyone spot? There's so many Easter eggs in here.
Yeah, like Nuclear Man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Bravo.
Nuclear
10
Man.
points to you, Sash. 10 points to you, my man.
Yeah, I clocked that.
Yeah, Gotham City this way. When the car scene was running out of the tunnel at the end, the signs on the board tell you that Gotham City is literally fucking over there. So that's something that we're gonna have. Obviously, Christopher Reeve's son being in the movie as well as a reporter was a great thing. And everyone's like, well, me and John were talking about before. He apparently like, why didn't he have a bigger role? He didn't want a bigger role. He just wanted to. That's his day job. He's an actual reporter in real life, so he just done his
Andy?
job. Yes, sir.
Why did they make Clark Kent's parents dumb?
Yes,
we're
thank
getting
you.
to this.
Thank you.
They make
They
him
were
what?
inbred.
Why did they make him
They
dumb?
were inbred.
Yeah,
Where
like,
was
the mum.
stage?
The mum. She was like
Yeah,
a
be
bit
careful what you
thick,
say.
bit thick as shit, and like the dad seemed like he was under the thumb. But
Yeah, but again, it's a new universe. Again, this is a risk. Everyone's used to seeing the I get it. Maybe they did look like they were a
went
little
for the
bit like 20 fingers and
stereotypical-
17 toes,
You
but
know
I
what?
get it.
That was going for a very stereotype of how people view,
Southern America.
people with farms and stuff there, which
Mm.
which is, in an age of like where we can't offend anyone, but it's all right to offend like farmers and stuff, which I don't think is
The
right.
backbone of America. You wanna insult them, right?
Yeah.
They weren't insulting it. They were just trying to give us something. They just didn't want to do the same old parents.
Yeah, but
No,
just
but
like,
I'm sorry,
think it was
man.
insulting.
There's some things you don't need to change, right? I get it. You want new world, new universe. We're changing all of this stuff. Some things don't need to change.
Yeah, some things work, don't they?
Kent, right? And I remember I don't like Superman, but I'll give
We
him his
know.
dues. I'll give him his dues, right? Jonathan Kent is supposed to be this wealth of wisdom, this sage of understanding. What I
On the
have
other universe,
imparted,
on
what
the
I
old
have
Superman,
imparted
not
to
this
you.
new one.
No,
Well, we got
I'm
that,
talking
though.
about
We got it when
Son
they're
of
sitting on the
Superman.
step. When they're sitting
I'm
on the
talking
step
about
and he gives him
Son
that
of
chat.
Superman,
Yeah, but when they're
right?
sitting on the step and he gives him that chat of how proud he is of him and how he's adapted to work.
yeah, we got that moment.
We
man.
got that moment.
We got that moment. Yeah. No,
We got a
I can
proud
see
It's not like we
father.
don't want him. We don't
We
want him
got a
walking. We
proud
don't want him walking
father.
down the driveway again, having a heart attack and fucking. Let's bury the poor.
No,
fucker
yes,
again.
we don't need
Oh,
him to
that
die.
scene
We
makes
don't
me
need all
cry
of
every
that,
time I
right?
see it.
Liam,
yeah.
Lee, God bless you, sir.
I'm not
I still
saying-
can't watch that scene
Look,
fully.
I'm not saying that we need Jonathan Kent to die and all of that, right? But I'm like, and the thing is, here's the problem with that. That when he was giving him that pep talk, right? He's bawling his eyes out. I'm like, this is not the time for you to be crying, right? There are times when, yes,
Why his son's
tears
just
need
come to his
come.
house, fucking
He's-
close to death, and of course he's gonna cry. It's
No!
his son. Why wouldn't
Listen,
you cry? If
my
your
son comes to me close to death, right?
I'm
like, I'm giving you the pep talk, right? We're gonna be like, listen, you like what happened, what you saw in that video.
If your
it
son
doesn't
comes to
matter.
you close to death, you're just going to put this fucking movie on. He'll soon wake up.
Oh, listen, right? I've raised my kids like a Spartan, right? But I'm just saying, right? You have that moment of this is the moment in time, and yes, they did establish it earlier when they were like, oh, he's when Mark Kent is telling him, and she's like, you know what, like he's a big softie, he is a big softie here, right? But I'm like, this is the time when you're like, look, I am proud of who you are. I'm proud of what you do. Doesn't matter if the video is true or false. You are who you are.
The video.
I don't want to be like,
the video.
you know what?
They
I am so proud of you.
But any father would be like that. Maybe not you.
Right? No, I'm like, I'm saying is like there are times when he had a scene and he had a moment and he was like, I'm gonna give you this. And this is the moment, and this is a defining moment. And then you made one slight deviation or one slight turn, or sometimes you made a big old turn, and I'm just like, nah, I'm not with that. Not with that.
Well, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I want to get to some people that messaged us on Twitter yesterday. So I put, who's seen the Superman movie? Let us know your opinion. Man of Stephen, who tweets us regularly, really good guy. I know he's seen the
Mhm.
film a few times. He put, I've seen it and I thought it was a wonderful Superman film that really embraced the world of DC Comics. That's
Hey.
the whole point of this. My guy Cameron, good. Anyone that knows me, I do an NFL show, big NFL. He's a huge Commanders fan, was Redskins. He's kind of got a different view. He's been a long time since I came out the theatre and felt nothing. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good either. It kind of what it was. Lois was well played, and really the only strong character. Nicholas Hoult underplayed Lex, and I thought I was disappointed. Just bland. I thought it's probably quite possibly the best
Wow.
Lex Luthor ever.
All right.
Yeah, at Potato Turnip. Great Twitter name, by the way. My review I sent to someone else. I just saw it. It's not a bad movie, but it's not that good either. I'd say it's all right. No wow moments. Story was a bit average and a bit underwhelming, if I'm honest. My mate Ryan Wells, absolute fucking. I think he's Neil's new best friend. I reckon. He's a clone. I reckon Neil has been cloned into a middle-aged white guy with glasses who's about 4 foot tall. My mate Ryan fucking hated it. He said didn't like it at all. Way too much like a cartoon, maybe for kids or comic book fans, but not movie lovers. CGI was awful. Acting was terrible, especially Lois Lane. My God, tried to make it too comical on a level with Love and Thunder. Just not funny. Best character was Crypto. Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking
Mm,
I disagree with parts of it, but
yeah.
man, he didn't hit the nail on the head, but he certainly put that nail through the wood.
Look, I think this movie is, I mean, I think for people that want just a quote unquote Superman movie, who maybe go to the cinema once a year, who maybe don't read comic books, who maybe just think, I want to watch, and like to Lee's point, and I kind of get it. You want a Superman movie. You want to see him flying around the world, beating the living shit out of people. But I kind of appreciate where James Gunn's going and what he's going to set up. I think we'll get Lee's movie in 2 to 3 years. We might get that in Superman 2/3/Justice. I think we will get that movie fully. I think we'll get a badass Superman. I think this was the risk that James Gunn had to take. I think it's a risk that paid off. For me, this is as good, if not better, than the original Superman movie. My mate, actually, I need to read Ed's. Don't bulge your eyes at me like that.
Better than the original.
I need to.
No.
So Ed comment. Ed messaged me, who listens to Ed Thompson, who messaged this. He said, I forgot to read yours out. Sorry, Ed. 10 out of 10, mate. Gunn nailed it. The way Superman wanted to save the creature until Terrific blew its heart. Saved the squirrel. He said that's Superman. Lex was brilliant. Crypto stole the scenes he's in. Justice Gang were fantastic. People need to see this film. His clone was a strong motherfucker, and people need to know Lex's nano woman did change the message that Jor-El sent. He wasn't sent to Earth to kill and kill and rule over people. What a tease for Supergirl. Also, glad Gunn didn't hold back either. Crypto got his ass handed to him, as did Superman many times. Roll on the sequel. David was a fabulous Superman, up there with the original movie for me. Fantastic. That's Ed Thompson.
Andy, the problem is though, he believes that Superman was real and could actually fly, but
Superman, shut up, John. Superman
I'll
is
be
real.
honest, right?
it's not better than the original.
I
It's
but
as good as the
Agreed.
original.
No,
78.
I watched 78 Superman
Oh.
before I went to
Oh,
watch.
see, no wonder you
Superman.
fucking hated this, though.
And I was like, okay, you know what? It's kind of corny, it's kind of cheesy. And I was like, okay, but you know what? It's
Real.
got a real heart to it.
Yeah.
And it's got real elements. And it's like, okay,
Do you know what I love about
it's
78?
endearing. As much as I'm not a Superman fan, Superman 78 is an endearing film. You watch it and you leave a cinema feeling like.
And this one will be this
feel
movie for the new
hopeful,
Superman
right?
generation fans.
So-
And I'm
so-
get it that you have to pay
Nah,
homage
this
to
is-
the original fans. Like, and I get, honestly, I'm coming back to, I get Lee's point of what he said.
Mhm.
He doesn't maybe feel that this is for quote unquote us old bastards over here.
Yeah.
Lee hasn't quite got many grey hairs as me. He lives healthy, this boy. But I get it. But I think it's the risk worth taking from James Gunn,
Give him
saying
2
to people,
years.
yeah, that long. Give it. I get it. He's taken to the 18, 19, 20-year-old comic book fans, the young kids of these days. I mean, I read a couple of people that I'm seeing on Twitter that I follow saying this was their kids' real first look at Superman because they're like 8 or 9. They've showed them the original, but for them, this will be Superman. So for them, this was they're what we were when we grew up, and we were lucky. We had the GOAT. We had Christopher Reeve as Superman. In 20 years' time, this is going to be people are going to be sitting here. This will be the first Superman film that they watched. And when they're older, their dads will be like, hey, look, watch this film. This is the film that I grew up in. They'll be like, what? And a lot of them will be like, Dad, the graphics are terrible, blah, blah, blah. And they won't get it. But I get why James Gunn has done what he's done. And I applaud the man. I think it's tremendous. Everything that a Superman movie should be, this movie was. For me personally. And I know everyone's going to fucking hate me. And when
I
I
think
put
the
this
new
out,
generation as well, they want instant gratification, don't they, as well? The
that
new
is very
generation.
that, and I think that's Lee. I think that's with a lot of movies now. I think they want everything. I think they want. I think if you made Back to the Future now, you'd want to go straight to Back to the Future 3. You'd want everything straight away. You wouldn't want to see the whole.
That's the whole point to why I don't like it. It's not a
Mm.
movie.
It
It's
is a
Superman for the TikTok
movie.
It's not a
generation.
movie. You know what it is?
It is a
It's
movie.
Moonwalker.
Yeah.
Moonwalker, right? Moonwalker. Technically, Moonwalker's a damn movie, right? But it ain't a movie. It's a collection of it's a collection of here's this little thing, moving on. Here's this little thing, moving on. Here's this little thing. Here's a longer thing, and then here's this little thing, done. Right?
But yeah,
That's what this is.
Moonwalker's like a big
Superman for
music
the
video,
TikTok
man.
generation. You know what I mean? People
Yeah,
with
Moonwalk.
lower attention spans that can't sit down, absorb information going into their heads at long periods of time, etc. Because they keep switching. I still want to know what the hell they were doing in the damn spaceship for the last fighting scene, because that was just there for them for something to do. That's not how you write a good movie, you know? Either get them involved in the action or put them somewhere, or just don't focus on them. Like, it was just like, hey, we've got Perry and all of these guys. What do we do with them?
Where did they?
So
Where were they
David
going?
Dunn
Where were they
again.
going?
Space,
Where
you know?
were they going to when they got in that ship? No one knows.
That's that.
Yeah.
I
I think
knows,
maybe they got in it because Earth, like, down below, was getting absolutely beaten, and they wanted
because
to be up in
Yeah.
because Perry knows. Perry knows. Yeah,
Perry-
you've got a
by the
spaceship.
way,
Are we allowed to say spoilers about the ending? Do you know when
fuck me, we
Lois
talked
and
about the whole
Superman-
movie for the last hour.
Do you know when Superman and Lois went into that room and they started like necking each other and
Yeah.
The
Perry
only
goes
room
to
that wasn't
Jim-
blowing up in the whole.
How
of the
long they
city.
been dealing with each other? And he's like, about 3 months.
Perry goes to Jimmy, how long has that been going on? And they say, and he goes, about 3 months or whatever. Do you reckon they both know who Superman really is?
Nah.
They explained that with the whole glasses
Look,
situation.
the whole thing there where it was that whole thing when it was like Guy Gardner is explaining to Lois
That was funny as fuck.
Clark Kent is Superman.
Oh, that was funny.
That was
Yeah.
funny
was
as hell,
like-
man. And did you know, Sats,
You know
when
what?
you watch it back, you know the Hall of Justice there where they were?
Yeah.
There's probably about 20 Easter eggs in there. If you watch that scene again,
Okay.
watch that when they're in that hall. I'm going to go and see it again later. When you see that hall, you'll see there's probably the most Easter eggs there's ever been in a movie. Setting up, look round
This
there.
is going to
Look
be
at the
biggest
newspaper.
grossing Superman film because Andy would have paid 200 million.
I've got Odeon. Yeah. Hey, look, all I will say is God bless the Odeon Limitless card. That's all I'll say. Mind you, I have to pay £5 for IMAX. 3D was free, but anyway. Hey, boys, look, it's been great to sit down and review it. I was really looking forward to this one. I know it's going to split opinion. We're not done with our Superman review yet. I've got my good friend Neil Ragg coming on. He's a fellow podcaster. He was at the Warner Brothers event with us. He's like mega Superman fan. He's probably up there with me. I'm recording with him later today, so we're going to put that out next week. I'm going to sit down and talk about this movie with him. So we're not quite done with our Superman chat yet. We can't be done with this. It's the greatest superhero of all time. You've got to chat about this a little bit more. But Lee, look, mate, thanks so much for coming on the completed
welcome.
it for
Thanks
the first
for having
time,
me.
man. We'll definitely get you back on, my friend. It's a pleasure to finally meet you on the call, mate. I'm glad you got to come on for this episode. John, pleasure as always, mate.
Mate.
We'll get you. Obviously, you'll be back on soon. Stash Neil, we've got Marvelous Monday to try and get in. We've got, I think, Thor. We're up to Thor. I think for
Dark World.
Dark World. I'm going to try and get that watched today. But again, anyone that wants to check out the show, just go onto YouTube, type in the Completed It podcast. You won't see that logo behind me come up. You'll see our little logo come up. You can find us on Twitter, X, whatever you're calling it these days, at Completed It Pod is where you can find us. Really appreciate everyone interacting with us. Look, this movie is going to split opinion. It has split opinion. I'm really glad that it's out there, though. I think it is the start of something great for the and DC will prove why they are the best at doing what they do. Because trust me, they will get this right. Look at his face. They will get this right. It is going somewhere. This time in 3 to 4 years, we'll look back at this movie and go, this was the start, and this is why they. And you'll look in the next movies to come, you'll be like, that's why they done that. That's why they done that. There's many, many things that they've done.
I hope so.
They will. Honestly, I will. This movie will prove so many people wrong in what they're saying to why DC are going where DC are going. But as always, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. We're going to be back, like I say. We've got another Superman show dropping next week. We've got Marvelous Monday. Me and Neil are going to try and sit down and talk Megan 2, which, by the way, really enjoyed it. Really good movie. We're going to get down and sit down to talk about that. But we'll be back with loads more content as the weeks and months go on. But till next time, everybody, thanks for tuning in and stay safe. Or be super.
Feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of daily life? Struggling with anxiety, stress, depression, phobias, fears, or just trying to get yourself back again? Discover the transformative power of focused solution hypnotherapy and counseling. Through guided hypnotherapy, relaxation trance allows your subconscious mind to access your inner resources and strengths you didn't know you had. Book your free consultation today and let's start your journey together. For more information, please email Sharon at scm-therapy.me